Hello, in this tutorial we'll use Cinema 4D Lite to add 3D objects to tracked footage in After Effects and use a mole graph effector and the fracture object to easily animate 3D text. Here is After Effects. We'll see the footage that has already been tracked of some buildings in New York City. Here is the tracked camera. There is a null that was placed at the top of the building based on the tracking data. We'll use the null to help us position the 3D elements. Let's explore the camera in the null to Cinema 4D Lite. In the File menu, choose Export. Maxon Cinema 4D Explorer. The dialog tells us that 2D layers, like the backplay, won't be exported, so just click OK. I'll name the file NYC Buildings Export. Now I'll import the Cinema 4D file we just created back into After Effects. There it is. Choose Edit Original from the File menu to open it up in Cinema 4D Lite. Here we can see the tracked camera. And here's the null. Let's stop looking through the camera. There is the tracked camera and the null. With the null selected, I'll create a new text object. While holding down the Shift key to automatically make it a child of the null, zeroing out its X, Y, and Z coordinates and its rotation, we'll move the text to the null and orient it in the same way. Let's zoom in. Make the text read New York City. Align its center. Change the font to Arial Black, make it bigger. And tighten up the vertical spacing. With the text object selected, I will hold down the Alt key and make an extrude object. making the text a child of the extrude object. In the Object tab of the Extrude object, I will increase the movement along the Z-axis to 300 centimeter. In the Cap tab, I will give the text a filled cap. This helps catch the light on the edges. With the text object selected, clicking Show 3D GUI allows you to move the letters closer together manually. Let's look through the camera and move the text higher in the scene. And save. Switching back to After Effects CC, I'll make the .c4d file a new layer in the comp. As soon as I do, the 3D letters automatically appear. And track correctly. Switching back to C4D Light, I will make a new material. In its color channel, I will choose a light warm color. In the diffusion channel, I'll add some noise. Scale it up and lower its mix strength to give it a warm, non-uniform look. I'll name the material and drag it on to the extrude object. There are several different types of lights, but I will make an infinite light since its rays are parallel like the sun. Switching to our view, you can see the light at the origin. I'll move it closer to the text. And rotate it so it points to the text and roughly the same angle as the sun's rays. Let's save and switch After Effects. And switch the renderer to final quality. Let's zoom in. The angle of the light is good, but the sides of the letters are too dark. I'll make a fill light, but before I do, I'll name the first light Sunlight. Then I will hold down the Control key and drag off a copy of the light. I'll move it here to point it to the sides of the letters. And name New Light Skylight. I'll make it a blue color. And lower its intensity. Now let's go back to the sunlight and give it ray traced shadows. Then I will save and switch back to After Effects. That's better, but the bottom is still a little too dark. Go back. If I create a point light and click Ambient Illumination, it will add more overall light to the scene. It's too bright, so I'll lower its intensity. Now, let's save and switch back to After Effects. That's better. Now, let's make some scaffolding. With the track null selected, I will hold down the Shift key and make a new cube, a child of it. The cube is at the origin, so I will zero out its X, Y, and Z coordinates. And it's a rotation, so it pops over to the null. Let's take a closer look. I'll make this Y and Z size 50 centimeter and make it wider manually so that it sits right under the letters. I'll Control drag a copy of it to the back. Next, I will make another copy here. Rotate it 90 degrees. Make it smaller. And Control drag it to each side. That's the base. Now I will Control rotate this one and make a copy of it. Move it here to make it longer. Control drag copy of it. Mac will be option. Let's make the scaffold material. I'll choose a dark gray. In the diffusion channel, I'll add a noise. Scale it up. And lower its mix strength to give an uneven look. I will also lower the specular. I'll make a new node and name it Skyfall. And drag all the Skyfall pieces into it to keep things organized. Then I will drag the Skyfall material onto the node. Let's save and go back to After Effects. There is the scaffolding, but we'll have to cover up the bottom with a mat. To make the mat, we'll make a duplicate of the bottom layer and drag it over to C4D layer. And I will draw a mask on it. To animate the letters, I'm going to use some MoGraph, namely the fracture object and the plane effector. Simply register your copy to Cinema 4D Lite. To add these features to it, with the extrude object selected, hold down the Alt key for PC or Option for Mac. And in the MoGraph menu, create a new fracture object and make it a parent of the extrude. The fracture object allows you to apply MoGraph effectors to its children, create and apply a plane effector to it. In its parameter tab, the plane effector's Y value is 100 centimeter. Let's increase the Y value so that the letters move up completely out of the frame. However, I don't want the effort to happen all at once, but gradually. Let's make the plane effector a child of the track node and zero out its X, Y, and Z coordinates and rotation. In the Fall Off tab, let's make the fall off linear. Let's move in for a closer look. The fall off allows the effort to happen gradually between the two yellow planes. On either side of the plane effectors, linear fall off. If I increase the distance between the two planes, the fall off happens slower. I don't want the plane effector to affect all the letters at once. So I will click on the fracture option. In this object tab, I will change the mode from straight to explore segments and connects. And because the shading anomaly to appear on the letters, which can be fixed by clicking on the extrude object's font tag and lowering the font angle to 20 degrees. And now the plane effector affects each letter separately. If I rotate the fall off to minus 90 degrees, it will affect each line of the letters separately. I will move the frame 120 and set a keyframe here at its start position. I'll move 3 seconds later. I'll set another keyframe here and its end position. I would also like the letters to rotate while they fall. So I will click on the plane effector, and in its parameter tab, I will activate rotation and set the P value to minus 180 degrees. And now the plane effector rotate the letters as they fall.